Utilities Community Facility District to order. Okay, roll call.
Chairman Wilson,
Here?
Vice Chairman Schroeder,
Here.
Board Member Heck,
Yes, here.
Board Member Soller, Board Member Johnson,
Here.
Board Member Nesser,
Present.
Board Member Cross.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay. Can I get an approval for the minutes?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the minutes of the November 15th, 2022 meeting be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Board Member Soller,
Here.
Vice Chairman Schroeder,
Yes.
Board Member Nesser,
Yes.
Board Member Cross,
Yes.
Board Member Heck,
Yes.
Board Member Johnson,
Yes.
Chairman Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, District Manager's report.
No report, Your Honor.
Okay, District Director's report. Questions? Oh, good.
Man, that was fast tonight. Sorry about that. So quick system update. Oh, sorry. Good evening, Chairman of the Board, Wilson, and members of the board. Sorry. Wow. Just a quick update. I know we have some new members here tonight. Welcome. Central Arizona project update. I know you guys have seen a lot in the newspaper lately and what's happening there with water supplies here. Just to let you know, we have our 2023 order in for next year. We're ordering still all of our water supplies. There's going to be no reduction in any municipal and industrial water, so that's just our main contract we have with CAP. So there'll be no restrictions in that. Also on our Gila Indian community lease that we have no restrictions on that for next year, or no reductions. Our non-Indian agricultural water, we have a 25% reduction on that one. Total of those add up to roughly about 4,000 acre feet. We currently use about 1,600 acre feet here in Apache Junction for the water district. So kind of give you an idea where we're at. We still have plenty of water available to us, even with those reductions they have for next year. Any questions on CAP or anything else right now?
Don't see any?
Some updates, kind of refresher here. We haven't seen you guys for a couple months, but still at Superstition Vistas, the first subdivision is now complete down there. We have sidewalk, curb, and gutter and asphalt in. We have water lines into roughly about 6 or 7 subdivisions down there. They're slowly paving through. They did drill a well down there, roughly 2,000 gallons a minute. One of our largest producers here for the water district. Our other ones produce about 500 to 600 gallons a minute. Good water quality. They've started the large diameter water mains in Ironwood. As you guys are all probably aware with all the traffic control that's down Ironwood currently. I did have a video here tonight, and I'll see if I can get this to work. This is a little flyby the developer sent us here. I'm just going to play it in the background. So this is our new water campus. This is going to be Water Campus 3 that we have on site here. This structure that you see, these are all just construction trailers, but this is our new storage tank. This is 3.2 million gallons of storage. Water will come in this west side and then serpentine through here for water quality, and then be pumped out into Ironwood and distributed to our customers there. So as you can see also here, they've dug next to the flood control channel here, and they're putting in the 4 sewer mains currently that are crossing Ironwood. They put some casings in so they can get across where they've relocated traffic over there to the east side going northbound. But as you can see, they're installing some of this. The 4 sewer mains are roughly about 50% done at this point in time, slowly working their way up. And then as you can see our site here, the tank is probably about 50% done itself at this point in time. They've started on the electrical building here. That'll be here in the future. And then roughly this black fence line that they have, it's kind of going fast on this drone right now, but is the property that we have currently for this site. Any questions on this construction? I got a few more pictures I want to show you guys to put in perspective. As you can see, this tank, there's 2 guys working down here. So that's roughly 30 foot tall. And this is all going to be underground, so you're only going to see a flat, look like a basketball court, or almost the size of a football field, concrete slab out there when it's complete. Okay. So at Rain Ironwood, we did get some infrastructure in there a couple weeks ago. Again, we moved traffic to one side of the road, put in some infrastructure on that side of the road, then we moved it back over to the other side. We started now once we got the sewer, electric, gas, and communications across there with some spools. We started on our 30-inch transmission line and then our 24-inch distribution line that'll be going in Ironwood. These are some pictures here. As you can see right here, these orange things are 36-inch valves. This probably guy's about 6 foot tall, so about almost 8 foot tall valves we'll be putting in the ground. Here's some reducers going from 30-inch to 24, and then here's the actual pipe that's going in the ground. So the top of pipe is roughly 8 foot deep, so we're 11 to 12 foot deep where these guys standing in the ground. So that's why this project is going to take so long to get these major mains installed out here. Kind of the same thing here. These guys are down in here. We put a cross in there. Here's that valve actually installed with the gentleman standing next to it doing work down there. And then here was just the valve. So large infrastructure, big holes, big things going on out there, a lot of things happening. So this project, as we talked before, is going to take approximately 18 months. So Ironwood's going to be a little plugged up for a while. Luckily, the 24 opened up during this time, so now we have traffic going off to the west. And then we'll slowly work through our projects out there. So we believe that the 30-inch transmission line will be done probably May, and then we'll have the 24-inch shortly after that, probably in June, July. Developer's still telling us that first model homes will be up here at the end of February, and they'd like to sell homes by June still. So they're still on a tight time frame to get some of those done. So we're working through that process. And obviously they have to have water to service those homes before that can happen. So we're working through that with the developer. Any questions?
I have a, Mr. Chairman, question. I have a general question, not about the construction, but so are you done? Are you
Yes.
still going?
Yep.
Okay. With regards to the 25% reduction in the water allowable to us, I know right now it sounds like we're not using the volume that we're permitted to use.
That's
correct. When year in and year out, is it looked at in terms of how much we're not using, and then they can say, well, you guys are well under, so we're gonna restrict, or we're gonna reduce the amount of water available to you. Can that happen?
I don't believe it can at this point in time. A lot of cities are paying attention to that because they have done individual reductions on their water that they request at this point in time. California has chosen not to take any reductions at this point. All of the reductions are supposed to be voluntary. Eventually, the federal government's going to have to step in and make them mandatory, and that's when we'll get some reductions on our supplies at that point in time. Okay. But currently, no, even though we're not utilizing it all, they actually have a program this next year that we're working with them on, that if we're not utilizing it all and we order it, they'll actually purchase it back from us. So we can save water conservation and keep it back there as part of that program.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope. Don't see any.
We have Arizona Water Company here with us. We're working on a new project here. It'll be coming out in the next couple weeks. Luca's going to do a little presentation. She's with the Arizona Water Company. But we're working on this. We had in our general plan One Water. We have a new one coming out, One Water, Our Water, here in Apache Junction. It's all about water conservation and things that we can do here in Apache Junction. It's with the city also. Al's been working with us on it. We're going to be promoting this on several different things, but I'm going to let Reluca do a presentation here for you guys to get you caught up to speed where we're at on this project.
Hello, Mayor and Council. My name is Reluca Mielchescu. I'm the Water Conservation Coordinator with Arizona Water Company. I also want to introduce, if that's okay, the president of our company and our vice president of water resources are here as well, Fred Schneider and Terry Sue Rossi. Thank you for adding this as an agenda item on the agenda tonight. I'm going to be presenting on the One Water, Our Water Joint Demand Management Program. Before I dive in, just a little bit of clarification. A demand management program is essentially a water conservation program with a very important distinction, Instead of just focusing on the end user to conserve water, it also includes the water utilities and making sure the utility is also doing what they can to conserve water, not be wasteful and all that. So that's why we call it a demand management program, but it's essentially a water conservation program. So a little bit of background, Arizona Water Company is managed for water conservation requirements by the Department of Water Resources. There are things called management plans put in place that are just requiring water utilities to stay up to date on the water conservation efforts from a regulatory perspective. There are 5 management plans. We're currently in the 4th one as of January of this year. And with each management plan, utilities are required to do more conservation and to diversify what they're doing with conservation. Not just to make sure that utilities aren't staying stagnant, that they're doing things that are actually helpful and beneficial to the community for conservation. So as we look towards the 5th management plan, which will become active in January of 2025, as a utility, we can't just keep doing the status quo. We're going to need to do more conservation, and we're going to need to diversify what we're doing. So the reason why we're looking at putting together this integrated demand management program with the water district is to stay ahead of the curve. Essentially, we don't want to get on a really tight schedule trying to meet the regulatory requirements. We're trying to look to the future and be really prudent about that. So these are just some examples of what the changes from the 4th to the 5th management plan look like. If you're interested in a presentation on that, more than happy to come back, but just want to be really wise with the time tonight. Also wanted to mention that as a private water utility, we're regulated by the Arizona Corporation Commission, or the ACC. The requirements that we have to put in place by the Corporation Commission are very similar to what we have to do for the Department of Resources. The requirements are, the list of potential requirements are the same. One big difference is that at any point the Corporation Commission can say, hey, tell us what you're doing for conservation, and we immediately have to prove that. But just so that you guys are getting a little bit of background information, we're regulated by the 2. So in trying to think ahead and determine what a community would need for additional conservation, we put together something called a comprehensive water use assessment using Arizona Water Company's customer data, because we serve in the city of Apache Junction. There are 2 goals with this assessment. We're looking at the water usage data to determine, okay, what's currently happening for conservation in Apache Junction, so looking at what we're doing, what the water district is doing, what the city is doing, trying to get a lay of the land. And then from a water use perspective, trying to see where is the water actually being used to see where the biggest potential for conservation is. Because what we don't want to do is create something that's not actually going to be helpful for the community. So we did this big analysis. We determined, this is a very simplified version, but essentially this is a list from the Department of Water Resources. You plug in what you currently do for a community for conservation. It equals a certain number of points. You look at your total number of points and see, does that meet regulatory requirements? It does. This is just an example of what the water district does and what Arizona Water Company does for conservation, some of the resources available. We also looked at what the city is doing for conservation. There's the Land Development Code, the 2020 General Land Plan that Mike mentioned earlier with the One Water concept, and the 2 main goals for conservation are regarding water resources, which is advance water quality and quantity, and strengthen water conservation, because we are 2 utilities working within a service area. We also currently, as both utilities are already present in the community, attending events, trying to talk to people, and start to build those relationships with the community. So that's just a little bit of background on what's currently happening. And then as far as the timeline goes, I wanted to put together a slide to kind of show you what are the different steps for putting together the demand management program. So working with our division manager for the superstition areas, we reached out to Mike and to Al and said, hey, we want to do something combined and collaborative. What do you guys think? They're jazzed about it, so that's when we did the comprehensive use assessment. We presented to them what we thought would be good resources, what the results of the assessment was, and then we worked together with Al and with Mike to determine, okay, what are you guys doing? What are we doing? What could be helpful? We worked out what some of the standard elements are, which I'll go over in a bit, and then we created a logo and a slogan that we thought would be really impactful for the community. So again, just to recap, the goal is to determine what would be helpful for the community of Apache Junction, Based on our analysis, with our water use data as Arizona Water Company, we determined that there's potential for both residential water users and commercial water users to conserve water, which is important because we can start building around that. One thing that we want to do is we want to tie in the water district's data and redo the analysis just to make sure that the results are consistent, that we're not missing anything, or that there isn't some low-hanging fruit that we can't tackle. So this is the logo of the demand management program. We really wanted to piggyback off of the One Water element in the general plan. So it's called One Water, Our Water, with a view of the Superstition Mountains. And these are some of the things that you can expect from this program. So we're going to do a public education campaign through Facebook. So the goal is once a month, we'll pick a topic and we'll basically market out to residents, hey, here's what you can do on this specific topic, whether it's finding leaks in your home, how to spruce up your landscape while not using a ton of water. We're just going to be promoting different actions that residents can take. We're going to have a landing page that explains essentially everything that I just went to you, but for the public, or explained to you. It'll have a frequently asked questions page where we can tackle topics if people are going into negative comments or something like that on social media. We can create a frequently asked questions section on it and then steer people towards that. So we want to use these resources to help educate the community. We're also going to be putting together a launch video, which is, again, just explaining what this program is, but in a different format, in a video format. We worked on filming that earlier today, and that was a lot of fun. We're going to put together a water journey video that's going to explain where Arizona Water Company gets its water for the community and where the district gets their water from, just to really highlight to people where their water is coming from. We're going to do a pre-campaign survey, just try to gauge what the people of Apache Junction think about conservation, what topics they would want to learn about, and really get an idea of what the ethic is for conservation currently. We would want to do a post-survey in about a year to see if people know about the program after having launched it for a year, if it's been impactful or beneficial in any way, because otherwise it's a little challenging to determine the impact of a public education campaign. Some elements specific to Apache Junction, because the elements that I previously mentioned are consistent with other demand management programs that Arizona Water Company has launched in different service areas. We want to do large landscape irrigation water audits, so using an independent contractor that we have a contract with. We want to go into schools, parks, HOA common areas, and be able to do an in-person water assessment in the common areas and the large landscaped areas to make sure that if there are any leaks, the management company knows about them and can fix them. So this is a resource we want to promote to the commercial water users. We have a memorandum of understanding between the three entities, the two utilities in the city, saying whose are what responsibilities and really laying that out. And our launch date is February 25th, so it's in about a month and a half. And that the launch date just signifies us starting to promote the Facebook page and running ads to get people to follow it, showing the launch video, and starting to provide tips and action items for residents. That way they know that they can conserve water. All this to say, these elements that I just went over here are just things in addition to what Arizona Water Company and the Water District have already been doing for conservation. So we've already been meeting our regulatory requirements. This is just what we're doing more to help the community. And then that's the end of the presentation. So if you guys have any questions.
Mr. Chairman? I just have one. So
Sure.
I noticed the launch date is, and you noted it's during the Lost Husband Days.
Yes.
Are you guys going to have a booth there or something? Okay, because I think this is
Absolutely.
real important, and I think the more exposure you can get, the better it will be, and there'll be a lot of people out there. So
Yeah, and I've been working with Al and Mike on getting giveaways to engage with people, and we really want to let people know about this so they can have a centralized location to get information for conservation.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Great.
Don't see anyone else.
Your Honor, I just wanted to add that we hear from you that this is the #1 question you get. Is there anything else we're missing that we could be sharing to help? We don't have to answer that tonight, but as we go, any insights that you have, please let us, Al, and any of our groups, Mike and Fred and our team at Arizona Water, we do our best to work together. You could tell this is one effort to coordinate, helping folks. I know it's the question you get. You heard it a lot during this last campaign season. So we really are hoping to help. We do a great job of conservation in this area, but we can do more.
I think the biggest question I have that I faced and tried to answer repeatedly is, let's say the growth. Where's the water coming for the growth? And, we're able to, I got reassurances from Arizona Water as well as the Apache Junction Water District that we have plenty of water for the current growth that is, in design and being in work. And I think that's one of the big things that people keep addressing.
Yes, and we can address that issue as a frequently asked question, or we can do a video series where we can explain to people. We are happy to utilize this resource to make your guys' life easier as well. So my dream would be as soon as you guys get that question, you could say, you know what, go to the One Water, Our Water landing page. You can find a ton of information that we've already vetted for you guys, so.
Chair,
Yes.
I'd just like to say thank you very much for this presentation and for all the efforts you're putting forth. Please make sure everything on Facebook is shareable, because there's
Yeah.
a lot of people we can, hit and pop, and all the different groups out there that, let's make it well known.
Yeah, absolutely. I will send you guys information as soon as we have all the URLs and everything, so you guys can follow and share and comment and all that.
Mayor,
So,
Yes.
I'd also like to thank you. This is very impressive. Anything we can do to conserve water is wonderful. I sat down and got up to date on Apache Junction water, and I have to say I'm very confident that we have the water they say we have, and that we have plenty of water for the future growth. So thank you for doing this. I really am a big advocate of saving our water.
awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for you guys' time today and your support on this.
Thank
It's
you.
important, so. All right, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Raluca.
Yes.
Just to give you a heads up in the future, I'm going to give you some more updates here. I know we have some new council or board members here as we grow, some different things that are happening out there. We're going to get more in detail. I know, Chairman Wilson, you've heard stories about our Birdie River raising of the dam. We'll be bringing that back up. We're talking about an interconnect between CAP, Central Arizona Project, and Salt River Project. We'll be working through some of those. We have some videos and some more detail, but it'll be more updates on where we're at with different projects, large projects that are happening here in Arizona on water. Okay. Any questions?
Don't see any?
That's all I have for
Hey,
tonight.
I just want to say thanks to everybody that's involved in this. There could have been a chance we didn't pick this up. I want to say thank you to Arizona Water and their team to help get this over the line. Mike, while we've got you, the residents are seeing a lot about Scottsdale and Rio Rico, or not Rio Rico.
Rio Verde.
Rio Verde,
Verde.
Green River.
Yes,
And
so Rio
so
Verde.
any connection to us and how that's different, make sure.
So, I don't know if you guys are aware, I've been reading the newspaper on Rio Verde. Small community north of Scottsdale. They are not a platted subdivision, so they didn't have to get a 100-year assured water supply. So they had to get their permits for building through Maricopa County. So they've built on these acre-and-a-quarter properties. Well, there's no requirements for them to replenish the water they use or anything like that. Scottsdale has been providing a water hauling service for them, or water location where they can get water haulers into, kind of like we do here in Apache Junction. About 2 years ago, City of Scottsdale decided when restrictions happen with CAP, they're going to cut off all other supplies outside of their community. They told Rio Verde at that point in time, you have 2 years to figure out how to get water to your property because we're going to shut down this potable water station. Over the past 2 years, they've been working on different projects of forming a district, trying to get into the city, working with different water haulers. Hopefully Scottsdale wasn't going to do anything. January 1st came, Scottsdale has shut them off at this point in time. They've reached out to other communities and have went and got their water resources from other communities at this point in time. We've actually had a couple customers come here to Apache Junction to get water. So it is an issue up there, But this is why the Department of Water Resources has rules of how we're supposed to follow things and not do a lot of these just acre and a quarter where you don't have to have water supplies to your house and you can haul water to your house. And it happens for a long time, but eventually here in Apache Junction, if we ever get to that limit of water, what do we want to do as a policy here, as a board, as a district, as a city, saying, you know, the water that we have here currently is for our city residents and not for somebody that lives in the county or something different. So those are things we can push off to the future, but it's already happened here in Scottsdale, and they made a decision of they're not going to service anybody outside their service area at this point in time. It's rough. I know there's just, today, there were some lawsuits filed in both sides, so this will be ongoing and be interesting on how the litigation all determines out here in the near future, but as of right now, they've cut the water supply off to those residents that are not in the city of Scottsdale.
I'll add a little to it. You know, I have a very close friend that lives in that area, and she gets approximately 4,000 gallons of water about every third month, she says, because they do a very good job of also being lean for their water. But their water bill now has gone from $100 for 4,000 gallons to over 400. She says, in fact, there's even talk it's now going to go over $500 for 4,000 gallons of water. So you can see what this impacted to them in that area, and how really we definitely got to make sure that we stay within our, I'll say, limits that we have established for our community and as well as what the surrounding areas as well. And yes, they are driving down here to Apache Junction to get water and drive all the way back up to that area to deliver water to people that are in need of it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My understanding is that they tried to form a water district themselves and were turned down by the state?
They were working through the process, but I don't think they could get all the residents on the same page to create
Okay.
that district.
And there, the possibility of each resident digging their own well, kind of like how we have wells all over out here, is not an option for them?
That is an option, but I believe they have limited supplies up there. I'd have to look into that a little bit more. But I'm sure that's always an option, but just kind of like what happens even in Gold Canyon. We've had some issues even to the north of Apache Junction where you're up near the mountain. The more people that put in wells up there, the less water everybody else has. So it slowly works its way down the mountain and everybody's running out until they get to the point where they're at today where you can't really drill a well and get the water that you need, even for an individual resident. You know, they do a great job conserving water just like we do here in Apache Junction. If you watch the news, they were saving rainwater and flushing their toilets with different things, with water and gray water. They do different things with it. They've been working to do their best to utilize water in the best way. But again, it was the city's determination that they were going to take care of the city before they took care of people outside of the city limits.
No other questions?
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, District Treasurer's report. Okay, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you.